Good evening and welcome to the Township of Bedminster. This is the Township Committee's regularly scheduled meeting for May 20th, 2024.
20th.
What is it?
Did you say 24th?
No.
20th,
Oh, I thought I heard.
2024.
Oh, 2024, sorry.
I'll recognize that we have a quorum of Township Committee here in person. Committeeman Stevenson, Committeeman Hickey, Committeewoman Fernandez, Committeewoman Moreski has an excused absence. Ms. Ray, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, Mayor. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News Somerville, Bernardsville News Whippany, and to all subscribers and posted at the Township Municipal Building on January 5th, 2024.
Great. Thanks. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the time of the meeting. We open up microphone and Zoom for public comments. Any member of the public wishes to make a comment, ask a question, it guarantees on answers. Now's your opportunity to do so. I see one hand being raised. You, Mr. Roder, you have to come on up,
Oh, no.
get to the microphone, state your name, street.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Roden. I live on Spencer Lane in Pluckman, New Jersey. Hi, I'm Michael Roden. Okay, we all know why I'm here, or do we? Dog park.
Dog park.
Dog park. So, quick notes, we got some trees planted last year. It was fantastic. I worry about the trees today because, they got planted, really didn't get watered. We depended on weather. We're still depending on whether they are actually, growing. But I just want to know, do we have a watering plan for those trees? Do we have a weeding plan for those trees? Right now, they are protected by a small piece of fencing, which is fine, but I don't know really whether or not that it's an issue to protect the trees at their stage that a dog's gonna go up and pee on them, because dog pee's full of nitrates. I think trees love nitrates. I mean, I really don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I've noticed trees that get peed on grow a lot better than trees that don't get peed on, in my experience. So, in the dog park, we have the trees, and I would really like to see a program that's going to take care of the trees, whether it's me, that I go there and put 150-gallon water container in the back of my vehicle and a little pump and go out there and water them or not. I mean, what is the process for these trees? Are we supposed to be watering them? Do we need to weed them? I mean, they've got grass growing around them now in their little 4-foot pen that's, going 2 feet tall. Hi, Gina.
How are you?
Feel like I'm blocked here. Anyway, I would be more than, welcome to help in this endeavor. I want to see those trees grow. I've grown trees in my neighborhood, which is a multifamily neighborhood, and I've planted trees, I've grown trees, I've watered those trees, and they are now perfect little specimens that I sit on my deck and look at. And I'd like to see these because I plan to stay in place here, one way or another, in Bedminster, because I want to age here. So we got watering, weeding, protection. At the park, we need to do something with the first gate hinge. Right now, it's starting to wear through. You took care of, I'm sorry, I'm addressing Kevin right now, but you took care of the secondary hinge and with little welded nut and all that kind of stuff. It's rusting, it needs grease or whatever in there. But the first hinge is now doing the same thing, eating into the hinge area. And in that area right there, there's puddling at the entrance. There's a lot of puddling. The surface is lower. What I'm talking about is today's maintenance of the park, not tomorrow's promise of Pet Fresh. Mr. Mayor, you were really thrilled about Pet Fresh. I have not heard anything about Fresh Pet since then. There has been no subcommittee that was going to happen for the dog park just before Fresh Pet that got canceled. And yeah, I'm at a loss as to where the township is going because I have no control over that. And I'm looking to you to tell me what your plans are. So at the gate, you have a hinge failure replacement problem right now. You have puddling at the entrance. At that entrance also, every winter, the snow gets plowed, it gets dumped at the far end of the handicap parking spots. And at the far end of the handicap parking spots, there's a pile of gravel. There's gravel all through the handicap parking spots. I really wouldn't want to be a handicapped person that has to depend on a walker getting out, moving across that surface. That gravel's there. It could be used to level out the entrance. Really, the entrance really needs to be a concrete entrance. I don't know what your intentions are with the dog park, but you know, a dog park typically has a concrete pad at the entrance that keeps it stabilized. The handicap parking there, you know, it's not right. Over by the new bathrooms, the composing bathrooms, there is a handicap parking spot. I certainly wouldn't want to park over there. You wouldn't believe the silt that's there. If it's at all damp, you're going to get out, you're going to fall on your ass when you get out of your car. And that's a handicap parking spot. Bathrooms. I was a little surprised to hear that the Department of Public Works has been assigned cleaning the bathrooms, the newly designed bathrooms over there. That's not their job, cleaning bathrooms, really. Who cleans the bathrooms here at Town Hall? You know, are they done once every Friday? I don't think so. They're probably done every day. That really, Gina, thank you for that information. That really was, you know, it's not their job. It's really, you know, a clean, and from what I understand, reading about those bathrooms is they do have to be pumped. I mean, they're going to composite the crap, but they still have to be pumped with liquids. They don't drain liquids, do they, Kevin? Okay. Okay. Trees. We love the trees. There's an issue with trees in the township all around. I come down the road and on the right-hand side, just past Cortland, which is basically a state piece of property, there's probably about 20 trees that were planted in there. If you go there and you look, probably 40% of them are dying. They don't get watered. How do we provide for this? I mean, it's not Department of Public Works responsibility. How does the township provide for that? How does the township provide for watering the trees in the park? Burnt Mills Road lost a bunch of trees last year that were just cut down. They're gone because they weren't watered. We're supposedly a tree-friendly township. How do we do something to protect our trees?
Mr. Roden, as I said at the beginning of public comments, you have the opportunity to give comments and you have the opportunity to ask questions.
But
You don't
have
get
the
a
responsibility
guarantee.
to answer
You
that.
don't get a guarantee on answers. But Kevin, and let me just turn to Kevin from DPW, to the extent you are able to answer any of those questions, you can do so if you can get closer to a microphone.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Yes, all right, Mr. Roden. So let's go with the trees and the watering schedule. We've had one of the wettest springs on season
It's been
yet.
fantastic.
So there's no need to, Mother Nature will take care of that.
Right now.
Correct. If there's a need to, we have bags like we did for the Christmas tree in front of the JPH, or holiday tree we did in front of the JPH. So if it needs bags and it calls for that, we'll put bags out. I have a big tote full of that, and we fill the bags and then slowly waters in. As for the enclosures, I spoke to Whit Parker, who is the township tree guru, in my opinion. I trust him. And 2 weeks ago, and I asked him about the enclosures myself, or maybe it was last week. And he said that he still thinks they should go this entire year with the enclosures.
Okay.
So,
And Whit's day job is as a forester.
Right.
yes,
So
And
so Mr. Roden, I'm going to trust Whit Parker
I do.
on tree management.
I do, but the question also becomes, how do the weeds that are growing in that thing?
How
Well-
do trees grow with weeds around them?
we'll have to.
Is that
remove the fence.
something, Kevin?
That was my parlay question for Whit was, can I take the fence down and weed whack and not have to put the fence back
Right.
up? So when we have the opportunity, we'll take the fence down, we'll trim everything, and then the fence will be replaced back in place. Gate hinge, I'll have my crew look at, as well as the puddles for the entrance. And we'll look at the gravel at the handicap area. We can blow that off tomorrow. Bathroom cleanings. We actually currently clean the bathrooms at the Art Association restrooms, Mondays and Fridays.
Mondays.
When they are, so that has water, so we winterize that. So during the season, we clean that Mondays and Fridays when we do garbage. This will just be part of our normal routine for cleaning. So Mondays and Fridays we'll be cleaning the bathrooms. We figured they're very high use on the weekends, all of our parks. So Mondays and Fridays has always been the best schedule. As for the pumping maintenance, those bathrooms are set for 60 uses a day on average. Based off of that, every 2 to 3 years, the liquids need to be pumped.
Really?
And then the solids about the same.
Mhm.
So actually, I'm sorry, it's maybe annually, the liquids, the solids are 2 to 3 years. And with that, we have a maintenance agreement with Clevis, who did who built the units, and they will be maintaining them to make sure that they're operating properly. The trees that were cut down at Burton Mills Park, some of them were part of the state program when the state changed the ramp for 22A, 287 north to 206 south. They cut down a bunch of trees to change that ramp. So we had trees planted in multiple areas. With that, I believe there was a 2 or 3 year maintenance contract that the state was responsible for with water. So the trees that did not thrive and didn't live, yes, we did cut those down. But that was a state program, the state plan. They needed somewhere to put trees. The township allowed them to put trees on their property. If they didn't thrive, they didn't thrive, but there was a maintenance plan with that. If you
But
walk,
they died after the 2 year.
yes, yeah, there was post the maintenance agreement.
Okay.
So if you walk from Burnt Mills Park to the first bridge there, heading towards River Road on the hike and bike path,
Mhm.
you'll see there's cutouts on the right side and on the left-hand side where trees were planted. A lot of those did thrive, and they were out there and they had to water them, they had to weed around them, they had to prune them. It was all part of the maintenance plan. Similar with 202 north off 287 north, that entire area there, that's part of those trees were installed as part of that program.
So, I mean, how do we protect those trees going forward now that the 2 year guaranteed maintenance is over that, yes, we had a very great spring, a very wet spring, very wet, end of winter, a lot of flooding, a lot of water. The dog park has a natural level of water, but certain areas don't. It's state property there, so, you're kind of like not really, obligated or allowed to water those trees.
Yeah, it's
That
something that would
would-
have to be reached out to, I imagine, the DEP in regards to, or the DOT, since it was their project.
And ask them to do.
Yeah.
I love trees. I think this whole town is about
I think
trees.
that comes loud and clear that you like trees or love trees. Any further questions, comments from the public?
There will be open comments on the lease agreement for.
Yes, there will be a public hearing on the 2 ordinances.
Sorry to bother you there.
You're not bothering, Mr. Roden. That's what public comment opportunity is for. We have 2 sets of meeting minutes to approve tonight. That's April 15, 2024 closed session, and the May 6, 2024 regular township committee meeting. Any comments or questions regarding those minutes that have not otherwise been provided to Ms. Ray? Seeing none, take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 permits and raffles to go through. First is an annual seasonal farm market permit for Flounder Brewing at the Bedminster Farmers Market, May 25 through December 7, 2024. A social fair permit to benefit Ashton Brewing Company on June 1, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Essex Horse Trough at Pennington Farm Golf Club. An on-premise merchandise raffle to benefit Freedom House Inc. on July 15, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. An on-premise 50/50 raffle to benefit Freedom House Inc. on July 15, 2024 at 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fiddler's Elbow. And a golf contest raffle to benefit Freedom House Inc. on July 15, 2024, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. Any questions or comments regarding those permits and raffles? Seeing none, take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Monthly reports discussion by subcommittee chair, Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. With respect to DPW, we continue to work on the fields, keeping them trimmed in line for the sports activities, prepping for the farmers market opening of the season. And still working on our roadside mowing. It's the season for that now. We're working with our environmental commission to set up some cameras, parks, to try to give us a better sense of what's happening there. And then we've got our standby generator project that is moving along. So all is looking good on that. I don't know if Kevin got anything specific, but in general, that project looks like it's on pace. Historic preservation, there was a last minute add to meetings that we got together last month or last week, I should say, and went smoothly. Appreciate everybody's efforts to try to get together for the applicant. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Committeeman Hickory.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. Board of Health, there was no meeting this past month because there were no applications. Mayor, did you want me to do library?
Yes, please.
Okay, library, just the highlight was that there's a plan for a kids' story walk, which is targeted for sometime in July. It will involve stations that will be arranged around the perimeter of the library's community garden. And basically the kids go from station to station, learn a little bit about reading, follow a story. And it's, it's designed to get the younger kids out there and excited about reading. So it's a pretty creative idea for customer engagement. The library plans to bring the show on the road to other community events throughout the year, provide this one successful. So that's what they're gearing up for. And that was about the highlight of the meeting, Mayor. That's all I got.
Thank you, Committeewoman Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update on rec. Camp Bedminster currently has over 130 campers registered for each week, which is great. 15 of the afternoon camps are at max capacity. All the camp staff's been hired, employment packets were mailed out, or it's like camp is right around the corner. Adult indoor volleyball, which was held at school here in Bedminster on Tuesday nights, wraps up tomorrow. And then adult sand volleyball will continue at Pluckman Park. It'll be on Wednesdays, starting on June 5th. The soccer clinics are finishing up this Thursday, and multi-sports camps will be offered this summer on Saturdays for ages 2.5 to 6-year-olds for the little guys. And Bedminster, Burnsville, and Peapack Gladstone Recreation Departments once again will be holding a basketball league for boys in 5th through 8th grades. The Bernards High basketball coach will run the summer league, which is exciting, and kind of bring the kids up. And then each team will have 10 regular season games and 1 playoff game. And tomorrow's our rec meeting, so I'll have more updates after that.
Great. So from my perspective, Farmers Market starts up this Saturday and continues all the way through December, into December. So where Saturday is going to be. More farms than we've had before, more vendors than we've had before. And we've got some returning farms and returning Bedminster participation. So great to see. All the details regarding the farmers market issued a press release that Robin sent out, and I believe may also be on the website. Land use board, last week, there was a zoning board approval for a use variance. Once again, it was a zoning board of adjustment matter. Committeeman Hickey and I were not eligible for it. It was approved 5-2, and it permits a two-family home in the village neighborhood zone on Lamington Road, right across the street, or pretty much maybe a little diagonal across the street from where Bedminster Pizza is. I know it's caused some consternation among folks. Board is independent. Those board members can make their own decisions, may not necessarily be the decisions that the township committee agrees with. But they took an application, went through 2-3 nights of hearings, 2 nights,
At least 2.
at least 2, and then there was one that
One of
was
us.
rescheduled.
Yeah.
Because of an issue with the escrow fees. So really, it's really all I have to say about that variance. There are a few planning board matters coming up that Committeeman Hickey and I will be eligible for, and those are coming up in June. So at their next meeting, we'll be reporting on that progress. Ms. Ray, may we please have the administrator's report?
Yes, Mayor. As I reported our last meeting, Bedminster Township had, on behalf of several communities involved in the Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee, we submitted a grant application to Congressman Keene's office. I did find out from his legislative aide, we should find out this week, which is
This week?
projects. Yep.
Okay.
This week, which projects are going to move forward. DOT local aid grant, we're going to be applying, spoke to Director Kevin Murray and Township Engineer Paul Ferrero, and we will be submitting an application on July 1 for some of the roadways up in the hills. I've been working on a Somerset County Film Commission, as you know, the Film Ready Initiative. I put together an agreement and an ordinance and an application process, which I do need to send over to Attorney Bellardo for review. And we'll probably hopefully be able to introduce that at our next meeting. And county's looking for poll workers, obviously, for the upcoming primaries that are going to be held on Tuesday, June 4th. They pay $300 a day. And then Mayor, on May 14th, we attended the Ag Committee meeting. And just in the process, we discussed some of the grants available to property owners and just an overview of the township's farmland preservation efforts to date. And last but not least, we submitted the county OEM COOP plan, which is the continuation of operations during the elections, and that's been approved by the Somerset County OEM. And that concludes my report.
Right, you know, I should have mentioned the ag meeting. So Committeeman Hickey and I attended the ag meeting. We thought that was going to be relatively quick. I think it's about almost 2, not quite 2 hours, about 1:40 or so. There are some irons in the fire. We're hopeful that they come to fruition and certainly get some updates. And some of them are pretty important properties, and we're hopeful that they come through both on farmland preservation and open space preservation. Chief, bring you back up to the microphone, and any updates we can talk about the administrator's report. I know we discussed earlier your traffic meeting regarding Pottersville will be next week, so probably no updates, maybe some additional data gathering.
It's
But
this Thursday.
Turn it to you. Oh, it's this Thursday.
This
I'm
Thursday,
sorry.
yes. I don't have any new information from the community policing from last meeting, but all of our programs are listed on our website. If anybody wants any more information, they can take a look. And if they have questions, they can certainly call us.
Great. Okay, thank you. Introduction of ordinances. We have none to introduce tonight. However, we do have two ordinances for public hearing. And we'll take a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance number 2024-004.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So ordinance number 2024-004, this amends the property maintenance ordinance. Right now, the property maintenance ordinance applies to the village neighborhood zone. So that's both in Pluckman and in Bedminster Village. What is not captured by the current property maintenance zone is the section of Pluckman along Route 202, 206, which is zoned SCH. That's a senior citizen housing zone, and that's going to be Pluckman Park senior community. So that frontage, the buildings that are in that complex would also be subject to the same property maintenance requirements that apply to the rest of the village. John, just going to turn to you if give a little more detail, if there's any more
I think
detail to
you've
provide.
adequately summarized it, Mayor. The committee in the past has looked to make sure that the properties in the VN Village neighborhood zone are up to standards befitting the community and in the area. We had one property which was recently remediated. I drove by it today on my way to Annie's Deli to get a sandwich, and I saw that the lawn was cut properly, finally. And I drove by another particular area on the way back that would be subject to this new ordinance and the standards that have worked for us previously.
Okay. Any questions, comments from Township Committee? Open up for public comment. So public comment is related to the ordinance. Any members of the public wishing to make a comment on the proposed ordinance 2024-004? Seeing none, take a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I'll take a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-004.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez,
Aye.
and Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
Take a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance number 2024-005.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So ordinance 2024-005, the Jacobus Vanderveer House is coming to the end of its current lease term with Bedminster. So as folks may know, Bedminster owns the Jacobus Vanderveer House. We lease it to the Friends of the Jacobus Vanderveer House to operate and maintain the facilities there. That includes the furniture, the fixtures, the installations, the museum installations, the art installations, and to operate programming at the Jacobus Vanderveer House. We've had some discussions with the board of the JVH Friends regarding the lease extension. There's no chance that we would get through those negotiations before the lease would otherwise expire. So we asked John Blardo and Administrator Ray to put together an ordinance for a temporary extension of the lease. Give us about 5-6 months to continue negotiations with the Friends of the JVH board and to finalizing an extension of the lease. And from our side, we're going to be talking to Kevin from DPW to see how it's operating with Neil from Rec. Certainly take input from both Gina from Rec Committee and from Doug, as our DPW liaison and historic preservation, for the comments that you guys have, so we can make sure that when we get into the meat of the real negotiations, that we're putting the operations first and the expectations of the township committee embedded, and also hearing from the Jacobus Vanderveer board as to what their expectations are. And to finalize that, we've had what, 20, Robin, was it 20 years under this current lease?
25.
25 years under this current lease. So there's lessons learned for both parties. And so when we enter into the next lease, we want to make sure that we've incorporated any of those lessons learned. We can embed them in the new lease. So all we're doing with this is we're just doing a temporary extension. John, anything that I missed? If you want to give any more details about when the lease actually expires, maybe Robin, you know that?
June 24th,
June 24th.
that's a guess.
Yep.
Okay. That's just. And this is getting us to what, September? Forget what the date was.
21st, October.
October 21st.
October,
The
okay.
4-month extension.
October 21st, there it is.
A lease is an interest in real property. We have to extend it by ordinance rather than resolution, hence the necessity to introduce and have a public hearing on the ordinance.
So questions or comments regarding from the township committee regarding the extension of the current lease through October 21st? No?
No.
Open the public hearing for public comment. Any members of the public wishing to make a comment on the pending ordinance? Please come on up to the microphone, state your name and street address.
Michael Roden, Spencer Lane, Pluckerman, New Jersey.
I'm in New Jersey. Mr. Roden.
I'm quite intrigued on the lease extension, only because did a little research. And we did see the trailer get removed this past year. I believe you were personally involved in that. My wife said that you were there, like, hours after it was literally removed. And, I looked at the diagram that's on the JVH website, if I could keep that for you.
Thank you.
Now, it's not my concern so much as the lease extension. It's to the purpose of the lease extension. And that is, in a sense, negotiations. When you look at that particular drawing, it seems to be in conflict, although for some reason, every time I go on to the Bedminster website to pick up some sort of detail, the drawings do not scale. I mean, you look at that, you can't read what the lettering says, you blow it up. You certainly can't read what the lettering says. I don't know what that issue is, whether I have to just, do an Oprah and request that specific piece of information to get better detail on it. But it does appear to be in conflict with the township plans for that area of the park, whether it's roadways, whether it's the community garden or whatever. What really I'm asking for at this point is that their presentations be done in public, not private. That when they're negotiating their lease, that what they're asking for of you, of the property, that it's not just something that and agree to in a public meeting. It's what's out there for the public to understand. And I really believe whatever they negotiate to you, such as that drawing, whatever the new drawing is, be brought here, be posted up, be legible, that everybody understands what they're looking for and understand what the township's looking for, because they're two different things as far as I can tell at this point. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roden. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, take a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2024-005.
So moved.
Second.
Now I'll take a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-005.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez.
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 items on the consent agenda. These are items of a routine nature. However, township committee members may pull one or all or some of them off for individual consideration. Seeing none, take a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda. So move.
Second.
Roll call vote again, please. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez.
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
And we'll just one quick note that ordinance number 2024-070 authorized the hiring of a new police officer. So hopefully that police officer will be starting
May 28th.
May 28th. Thank you, Chief. We have 2 resolutions for individual consideration. First is Resolution 2024-073. This resolution awards a contract to Visual Computer Solutions, Inc., doing business as Jobs for Blue. This is for police off-duty scheduling, invoicing, and collection services. Chief Robin, anyone want to just, I know we've heard about this before, but
Go ahead.
just give us a little summary of what Jobs for Blue is.
Yeah, it's a service that is going to take over the scheduling of our off-duty jobs. And in addition to, they'll do the billing and the invoicing. So it's going to take a lot of work from our employees. And basically it's kind of the standard in the industry. We're kind of one of the only departments that still do this stuff in-house. So.
And the in-house services that we've been doing, that's run through Allison, or is that run through your office, or is that
Allison.
Allison takes care of it
She
from the police
collects,
department?
gets the checks and does the transmittals.
Well, the scheduling is done, one of our sergeants, and he doesn't get compensated for it, and he's getting calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so this is gonna be a benefit.
Okay, so this is going to take some burden off the police department,
Correct.
both administration and uniformed officers.
And without cost to the township, there's no cost to the township.
Okay, so and those costs are just run through
The
the,
utilities actually pay the 8% on top of our normal off-duty fee.
okay, and once again, Chief, you had said that we were one of the few communities that actually has not been doing this outside agency, and this will put us essentially in line with other jurisdictions.
Right.
Okay. Questions or comments regarding the contract award to Jobs for Blue? Seeing none, take motion to approve resolution 2024-073.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez.
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey,
So Mayor, our next item, I just want to let you know, it's a 2-part item. Andrew Kaczynski is here, our auditor, to talk about our audit, and then we'll wrap it into the budget, if that's okay with you.
sure. Andrew, microphone is yours.
Wonderful. Okay, so prior to the meeting, I handed everyone out up on the dais, your yearbooks, as I call them.
Did you sign it?
I did.
He did.
I did.
I checked to
Yeah.
see that.
Go a couple
I
pages
checked to
in.
see that Bud didn't sign them and said, Andrew, that this is actually Andrew's. And it is.
But more importantly, in the inside cover, I left all of you a 1-page summary of the important facts in this giant book. So I'm just going to go through a couple of quick points on how the financials for the year panned out. We're going to start in our current fund, which is basically our operations. We had revenues of 41 million. That included $1.8 million of fund balance that was anticipated. We had expenditures of $38 million. So our current fund balance increased from 9,015,000 in 2022 by $1,085,000 to about 10,100,000 at the end of 2023. We kept on experiencing really great tax collection rates. We were at 99.21 again, which is fantastic. Love to see that. That means that, you know, late notices are going out, everything's running clean through the tax collector's office, which is really great. Just a couple notes really quick on your debt. We continued to pay down $94,700 upon anticipation notes this year. Actually, kind of segueing because we're doing both of them anyway tonight, we're actually going to pay another $94,700 in 2024's budget as well. We're paying off a little bit more than we have to, but that's good because it's reducing our exposure to the interest rates. So, you know, interest rates have been volatile. We're lucky that we're kind of evening out a little bit through the markets, you know, but overall, we're paying our way down, which is great. We also have our Green Acres loan. We paid down $14,000 of principal on the Green Acres loan this year. The last payment of the Green Acres loan will be in the first half of 2028. So just a couple more years and that goes away. Our sewer utility fund had a good year as well this year. We had $1 million of revenues, of which $246,000 was fund balance, which was anticipated. And we had $680,000 of expenditures. So what that means is that we had about a $98,000 increase in the sewer utility. So we went from $1,988,000 in 2022 to $2,086,000 at the end of 2023. Just to note, every year we have the recommendation included in the audit with the segregation of duties. It's a very common recommendation. I know I tell you all this every year. Very difficult to make it go away. I know we've had the conversation about it multiple times, but basically due to budgetary restrictions, we don't see a real good way to get rid of that at this time. Again, very common, nothing for you to be worried about. There are mitigating controls that are in place to ensure that nothing happens, but it's still something that we have to note within our audit, given the circumstance. But new for this year, we actually did run a slight deficit in the animal control account. So just so you're all aware, it was only $571. It wasn't a big amount, partially due to the change in the amount for the prepaids and how that works through the financials. And we also had a slight bump in our expenditures related to animal control. So that taken into account caused us to run into a deficit position. Normally that would have been raised in your 24 budget. Due to the timing of the introduction and the audit, we didn't include it in the 24 budget. So it has to go into the 2025 budget, even if animal control isn't running a deficit as of the end of 2025 or 2024. I'm sorry. So it's just required that it goes in there. Moving on to your management suggestions. They're very long and very detailed. So I gave you a very brief version of what it says. It's a lot of, you know, accounting language and whereas, so forth and so on. But you'll see there improvement authorizations. We just have a couple of old outstanding improvement authorizations. We've talked to Debbie about this. She's reviewing them. We're going to clean them up. We're going to get them off. Again, it's nothing to worry about. Just when those start to age significantly, we want to make sure that they're still valid. And if they're not, we return those funds to the funding source, or sometimes we cancel them out and we move them to fund another ordinance.
Do you know the amount of those outstanding improvement authorizations?
It's in the Bible.
It's in there.
It's in there, yeah. So there's a schedule probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way back. It's called the C5.
Is that on page
2-pager?
C5?
Yes, it's 2 pages.
Okay.
long, yeah. So when you go into there, you're going to see that there's a couple of them really that go back to 2016 with balances. A lot of them are smaller value overall. When you add them up, they start to become a little bit more significant. So again, discussing it with Debbie, she said, yeah, it is time to revisit those, take a look at them and get them out. Nothing that rises to the level of a recommendation, obviously, just something that's good housekeeping, as it were.
Okay, and I see some of these are expenditures that are going to happen.
Yeah.
So those will just continue to stay in.
Usually if it's the last couple of years.
See, you know, there's some equipment purchases and I think that goes back to both, looks like police and DPW need to go through them.
Yeah.
Okay.
and again, if the need is no longer there, we recommend cleaning them up and returning the funds to wherever they had originally come from. The second one of the management suggestions is GASB number 101. Basically, all that this is concerning the accumulated absences and how that works, and just have the attorney review and make sure that you're in compliance, which, as far as we know, you are. So it's just something that we put out. It's in all of our audits this year. You know that there's always a couple of these. The next one's the same thing, that we like to give heads up just so nothing comes as a surprise. And again, this last one, this has been in here now for, geez, going on. How long did the pandemic start? 20 years ago now? Or 2 days?
Feels that way.
Joe Biden was vice president.
So, I mean, it's just giving you the heads up, make sure to keep everything on file. They're coming out, they're doing their audits of, you know, the programs and how money was spent and everything. Everything that we've seen, obviously, you have no problems here. You know.
And just to educate everyone out there in the public, so a lot of the COVID funding, the COVID programs, COVID financial incentives for municipalities came with requirements that the money be spent in certain tranches, approved tranches. And those funds are subject to federal audit. And so what Andrew is talking about is document that we spent whatever COVID relief funds came to municipality, and those funds were spent in the appropriate bucket, tranche, activities, items, whatever they are. We've gone through multiple budget meetings regarding those expenditures and documenting compliance. But still another recommendation, and it's in the book. So hopefully that's an explanation, a little more detail to why Andrew's making that recommendation.
Yeah, and just to ride your tailcoats a little bit on that. We already know that in our 2024 budget, we've taken the last part of our American Rescue Plan money, and we're using that in the 2024 budget. Right. So it just has to be fully expended by the end of 2026. So
it has to be fully expended and has to be spent on the right type of stuff.
It's got to be encumbered by the end of 24 and fully out the door by 26. So
and just so everyone knows that before we pursued any of those expenditures, Robin did reach out to the authorizing agencies and ask them for some details. And I know, Andrew, you've been doing this with your other towns as well. So we've had multiple we call confirmation that what we were doing and our process was consistent with those requirements. So if we are audited, we think we're in good shape.
Absolutely. Yep. And just to take a moment, as I always like to do, really want to thank your staff here. They really do a wonderful job. No, James is new. But you know, from Debbie to Robin, everyone, just anything that we need, we get quickly, accurate information. Debbie is very diligent and very attention to detail oriented. So really makes everything a lot easier when that's the case, I have to tell you.
Great. That's great to hear. We sort of love hearing that about Deb and Robin and James. And Andrew, we also appreciate you giving us the advice to make sure that Bedminster stays on straight and narrow. So thank you for all your efforts. It's
My pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, Robin. So are we now ready to
Sure.
now, do we have to read this into the record? Judy made us do that. I was never quite sure if that's something that we needed to do.
Only with the introduction. You're fine.
Oh, yeah. That's because that's the introduction page.
Okay.
So we have to read this or don't? We don't have to read it. Okay, good. Okay. So resolution 2024-074. This authorizes the adoption of the 2024 municipal budget.
I know, Andrew has some words you want to present on the budget, and I had a presentation, but I don't have to do it.
Oh,
Michelle.
is it here?
Fine.
Is it
Yeah.
here or is it
You know
up on there?
I didn't know if you wanted to do it.
I hadn't seen it.
there.
I hadn't seen it yet,
That's okay.
so I would like to just,
That's fine. Andrew, why don't you go ahead?
so I don't think any of the township committee members saw it, so I think,
You saw it during the budget.
well, maybe we can hold it for the June meeting. This way we can authorize it tonight, and then if there's any questions or comments that we have on the presentation, we can give it to you for public dissemination.
I'm brief, if you'd like.
Okay, so Andrew, let's go with you.
It's just a couple of quick points on the budget for this year. So there's two caps, the appropriation cap and the tax levy cap. This budget is in compliance with both of those caps. We're $24,000 below the appropriation cap and $445,000 below the tax levy cap. Which just a comment on that, that's phenomenal. That's, it shows all the work and thought that goes into that. That's really good. We're a self-review year this year, so there was no state review. So the next time that we will be subject to that will be in 2026's budget year. We had a very, very modest increase in a lot of budget lines, and we actually had some cuts. A lot of work goes into putting this budget together for those in the room that don't know. Several meetings, and it's great to see the way that we don't just look at this year's budget. We look at next year and the following year, and we plan things out, and a lot of work goes into that.
Yes.
And I really do have to commend the governing body, Robin, Debbie, and your department heads, and all the work that goes into that. Because it's why the town runs so well. It really is. I had mentioned it before that we're continuing to pay down our bands. We have another $94,700 in there, and we have about $15,000 for the Green Acres that'll get paid down this year. We're still putting money into our capital improvement fund, which is great because that affords us the ability to maintain our infrastructure and to have good quality facilities that are kept up to date and operating properly. And again, just my last point is I just want to, commend the governing body and all of your department heads on all of the work that really does go into this.
Thank you, Andrew. This was certainly a particularly difficult year. We've had more meetings, went through more meetings than certainly I recall on budget, and multiple iterations of both capital and operating budget for 2024. So Robin, thank you for all that work that went into it. And Andrew, just as you mentioned, the department heads and James were at all these meetings with us, and there were many of those meetings. So I do echo your sentiments that thank you to all the hard work that Bedminster staff put into getting this 2024 budget in shape. So what I'd like township committee members to do is to go over the next really it's next week and a half or 2 weeks to look at Robin's overview, and if there's comments or questions that you want to expand upon, then we can certainly ask Robin to do that. So Robin, are we now ready?
We're ready.
Okay, so once again, we don't have to read this, all these words into the record, which I believe we've done before. So I'll take a motion to approve Resolution 2024-074, the adoption of 2024 municipal budget.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Mr. Fernandez.
Aye.
And Mayor James.
Thank you. Once again, thank you everyone for their hard work in getting us to this point. Take a motion to approve the bill list, pending review of individual invoices. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Well, it's a roll call.
Roll call, I believe, yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, this is all. Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Higley.
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez.
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Thank you.
New business. Any member of Township Committee have anything to put on for new business discussion? Seeing none, old business. We'll start with DOT improvements. I know there's been discussion not just on the Lamington Road 206 crosswalk, but also the 202, 206 Burnt Mills. So still, that's a conversation with DOT. Chief, I take it we've got no further updates from Meredith. I do not have any updates from DOT or Meredith on the subject, so.
The last communication, I believe she said her team was in transitioning or changing, so. I don't even know how long ago that was.
Yeah, so it's, we'll just keep pushing and then, we'll certainly mention. Hopefully by now they know what they want to do or how they can extend pedestrian cross time at Lamington, so hopefully it's not too much of a lift. Thank you, Andrew, on the Burnt Mills crosswalk as well. Utilities, Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple updates. First off, in Altice, the fiber build is continuing in Noel Crest, due to be completed hopefully around sometime the end of May. I also received word last week that pending internal executive approval, the next 4 neighborhoods to be built out will be Fieldstone, Long Meadow, Mayfield, and Village Green. So that's what,
Oh, that's great.
that's
big.
big. Those are substantial.
Those are big developments.
Exactly. So again, that is subject to their own internal review, capital allocation approval, but that should be pending within the next couple of weeks. So I'll follow up and report on that once they get their internal approvals in line. Comcast, we normally don't talk too much about Comcast, but they have the cable franchise agreement in Western Bedminster. Unfortunately, they don't serve all of it, meaning there are folks in Pottersville, folks in the Black River Road area that have very limited internet options. We know.
For the camera can't pick them up, but we
Yes.
have many members of Pottersville Volunteer Fire Company in the back of the room, and as you're talking about the service out there, there's a lot of heads nodding in
yes.
agreement.
Yes. So I did reach out to Comcast and ask them to conduct a study to see if they might consider expanding their service area. Cable companies typically assess these opportunities by analyzing the number of homes passed, PASSED, not passed. So working with one of our local residents, we've given them address level detail of all the homes in that general area. So it's all going to come down to the economics, but they received the data, we're very appreciative of it, and they'll determine now whether or not they can make the investment and expand the service area. So more to follow on that one.
And Gene, does that include both Tewksbury and the Bedminster side? So there's the service issues on both sides of the river? Okay.
And obviously they'll consider that in terms of the homes that are in Tewksbury as well, depending on where the circuit comes in from, but we gave them the Bedminster data.
Great.
All right. Just a quick update on New Jersey American Water. Just want to make mention that Ken Taylor, the supervisor who has been overseeing all of the New Jersey American Water construction projects here in Bedminster, is retiring in July. He worked at New Jersey American Water for 44 years. He was always the guy who would pick up the phone whenever there was a problem or an emergency, and he made sure that things got done. So he was both an ally of and an advocate for Bedminster and will be sorely missed. Ms. Ray and I will be meeting with his replacement in early June. We will also work with our municipal liaison at that time to resolve the call center issues that have been misdirecting New Jersey American Water customers to Bedminster Water. Mary, you didn't know you were in charge of waterworks. I think it's between Ventnor and Marvin Gardens. Little monopoly joke, sorry. So we'll detail the outcome of that meeting at a follow-on meeting. And that's all I've got.
Okay. PSE&G.
Yes.
So Kevin, if you can just get back to the microphone. So on utilities, PSE&G, well, Kevin has an update on the PSE&G work on Old Stonehouse Road.
That's correct. I finally got the markup request for PSE&G. Their window for construction, I believe, was early May through middle of June, maybe late June. So what that is that allows them to break ground during that time frame. So I haven't gotten a confirmation from a timeline. Communication with PSG has been sparse at best in regards to the project we have here, as well as their expansion on Old Stone House. But it seems like everything's moving forward. I spoke to Brian Wild. He was very happy when I told him that I got the markout request. So hopefully, I would say by end of July, the project will be hopefully groundbroken, and by end of summer, it should be completed. I'm not sure how long their construction project was. I believe it was 2 to 4 weeks was their original, but the way everything.
And that's going to be both up here and on Old Stone House?
That's just the Old Stone House.
That's just Old Stone House.
Yes,
Okay.
for here, found a friend at PSG and they hoping to expedite the project.
Okay, and so how quickly do you anticipate going from the PSE&G extension on Old Stone House to then paving Old Stone House?
We did not anticipate to pay, we pushed that off a year.
Oh, push
So
it
that'll,
up.
that'll be the following year. Yeah,
Okay.
just, we pushed that off, and I believe we put that in next year's budget.
Okay.
Anticipation, which there was funding from American Water, that we have as a remainder from the project. From our agreement in regards to Ski Hill as well, so.
We're just doing our part.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Kevin. So that's covers utilities. Pluckman Park Housing, Doug, John,
Not,
anything that you could discuss publicly,
not
No.
today.
Subject to a new ordinance.
subject to a new ordinance? That's still has a
That's a
new
good
ordinance
update.
smell on it.
That's a very poignant update.
Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee, we were scheduled to have a meeting last week. The concept was that there'd be a number of the mayors were going to be down at the New Jersey Conference of Mayors. Some of the mayors were down there, others weren't. So we pushed off our next meeting to early June. So we'll be reporting on that after we have the next meeting, but there are some updates we can talk about. I don't remember where PPAC Gladstone is. I know they introduced and approved.
They're adopted,
So they adopted. Bridgewater, I believe, introduced.
not June.
Oh,
They're introducing June 8th.
they're introducing June 8th. So 2 meetings to introduce that similar ordinance. And Robin, you already gave the update on the discussions with Congressman Kane's office. So we continue to make those public safety issues a priority. And it's great to see that we have consistency among our surrounding communities as well. We do not have an executive session tonight, so we'll go through Township Committee comments and then we will adjourn for the evening. Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening again, everybody. Just wanted to say thank you to Andrew for his nice comments about the budget and the hard work that went into it. And there was a lot of work and it was a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion. And I thank you all for your efforts for our heroes and friends in 63 to the north. You should know that the budget this year does include a full funding of the rating tender.
They know that.
And, and for the folks that are out there watching, these are big ticket items coming down on us from both of our fire departments. So what we did was we called in the experts, we called in the DCA and asked them to come in and evaluate our infrastructure and tell us, what do we need here? Because obviously we want to make sure that our first responders have the devices that they have, that they need to protect themselves, protect the public, but we don't want to double down and have duplication, especially at these numbers. And the feedback is that, yes, this tender is absolutely essential. And we went ahead and we funded it. And we know we've got more funding coming down the pike, but it's just a doubling down and showing of our commitment to communities are big ticket items, like I said, but it's necessary and we've got to do it. So thank you for working with us and kicking the can down the road, so to speak, as we got to this point and working with what you have and hopefully, we're meeting you in kind and we'll get this new apparatus in town. But thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
I can't top that, Mayor, just again to say thank you to Andrew, to Robin, to James, to Debbie, all our volunteers who were our guides with us and helped us through the process. We appreciate your time, your efforts. I think we came to a good place, especially when we started capital budget A and went through the alphabet and wound up at Z.
Yeah.
Robin wanted to stop at Y, but we made it to Z, didn't we?
Yeah.
But no, thank you everybody for all your efforts. We got to the right place. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Committeewoman Fernandez.
Just, yes, ditto to everything they said. Thank you for everything. And yeah, that was a big project. And it's nice to see this.
Yes.
All that hard
Yeah.
work in a big binder.
Put it on the refrigerator.
So I do want to thank once again, the folks from Huddersfield Volunteer Fire Company, for the officers and the chief, for coming out here tonight. As they often do when their budget issues are before us. And, they didn't say anything, didn't volunteer anything, but, we certainly appreciate them coming out. And, I did get a text from Tony Taranelli earlier, thanking Township Committee for supporting the purchase of the tender from Huddersfield Volunteer Fire Company. So thank you guys for everything you do. Volunteer is in the name of the fire company, and we know how important it is to keep you properly equipped. The Memorial Day Parade is Monday, Memorial Day morning. We'll be gathering shortly before 10 o'clock. We'll have both fire companies leading the charge, as well as our Hills Bedminster First Aid Squad. And certainly we'll have representation from the the police department as well. So hope everyone who can make it shows up. Once again, a great event. We can march down 202 to Far Hills. And
Do we have sash
Do we have-
assistance?
You do.
Do we have sash assistance?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
we do.
thank you.
binder,
I can't wear
binder
that
clip,
thing, yeah.
safety pins,
Ah.
staples.
Whatever,
Big
staple guns, nailing.
For some of us, yes.
Blue.
And Kevin, there will be hot dogs this year?
I believe so.
Hot dogs and lemonade.
Lemonade.
Okay, excellent.
Fairgrounds.
All right, so if
Staple of the parade.
whatever your hot dog consumption rate is for the year, now's the best time of the year to partake. It's at the fairgrounds in Far Hills at the end of the parade. So thank you everyone who helps put that together. With that, it is 8:08. Take a motion to adjourn.
So.
All in favor?
Second.
What was that,
Aye.
Rob? What was that,
Second.
Gina?
Aye.
Aye.
Just want to do a second and an eye.
I did a second and an eye.
All right, thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I don't know, some of my innermost Joey Chuck.